they themselves can control their own fate. Win the series, and you're at the Western Clash. Lose, and you're out.
Well, what's in control for them is whether they want first pick or the battleground. Let's see what they're going to decide to choose here as we're going to game number 4.
Baby steps.
They chose first pick, baby steps. That's right. They've picked Towers of Doom. In fact, Expert has picked this battleground with Team Liquid taking first pick. And I gotta throw you a hardball question, Caldor. Are you ready? You ready for the hardball question?
Every single time you say you throw me a hardball question is one of the easiest ever, so yes, go ahead.
Okay, who do you prefer to be at the Western Clash, Dignitas or Team Liquid?
Okay, that was mean.
That's right. I'm gonna make him choose someone here.
From which? Okay, so from representing Europe and who I think currently is the stronger team, I definitely say Team Dignitas.
Okay.
I think Dignitas is currently stronger, and from representation for Europe, I think Expert, Fnatic, and Dignitas is really strong. At the same time, I'm sorry, Dick, I know you're watching. You at every event.
You want a break? You want a small vacation? We'll just go and let Team Liquid go.
JPL was so annoyed the entire time that he never gets a break and he wanted to go to Japan. I read that tweet. I read it. So he wanted to go to Japan. I think JPL deserves a vacation. He's a really nice guy, and I think he was a bit upset that he never gets a chance. So he wanted to go to Japan for a little bit. And yeah, Bakery Snitch, I know that you're listening right now, but I'm just trying to respect the wishes of your frontliner here. So
Mane could have a happy birthday celebration.
Yeah,
He can go out traveling, hang out with JPL. It could be good.
Exactly. So at this point, no, but I mean, jokes aside, the stronger team right now is Dignitas, and they seem to have subscription for all the offline events in Europe. So I think they would be a very good representation for Europe. If Liquid makes it, if they turn it around, then I think they deserve it. But then I would also wish for them to become a little bit more consistent in their performance, because you just never know what you get with Team Liquid these days.
Well, that's a good answer, and I also got out of that I need to make sure that my hardball questions are more harder for you, and I will do that. I will deliver just for you, Caldor.
I should just be quiet in the future.
That's right. Hard questions every single week here at the HGC. All right, let's start it up here. Team Liquid will be having the first ban of the game, and they are actually going to ban out Brightwing.
Okay.
That yells to me they want to dive. They don't want to deal with Immortal and Polymorph. They want to get a team comp that allows them to get into the engages they want.
Maybe they want Tracer here?
Possibility. Maybe now this time they'll actually move into Genji instead of Tassadar first pick.
Okay, so a couple of things. First off, Brightwing, good against Tracer in particular. Against heroes that can really jump in deep to a certain extent, also of course against Genji. Has a pseudo-global that caters towards the map. So there's a couple of aspects with it where I can see, depending on what you want for yourself, that Brightwing becomes a threat. And also, they might know about a few expert drafts that just really center a lot around Brightwing. Because of course, for this week, the two teams haven't scrimmed against each other, since you know you're going to face off against each other. But before that, we had Expert and Team Liquid playing a fair amount of scrim. So that could also be just knowledge about certain drafts that Expert prefers to run here. But now with Tassadar being banned,
Uther's up, Anubrak, Genji?
Yeah, but think about what Expert just did. We talked about Tracer being a potential threat here, and Liquid banning out Brightwing because they don't want that as a reaction by Team Expert, since it caters towards the map and it's good against Tracer. Genji, and now Tassadar is banned out by Team Expert. So they are simply saying, if you want to play a Tassadar Tracer, we are already shutting that down by getting rid of Tassadar. Yeah, yes, we might not have Brightwing as a tool, but if you still want to go into Tracer, you have to do it without the shields.
And also Illidan, yeah, you're right. Illidan impossible. It just straight up takes away the idea of any dive happening with that Brightwing really being there. So while that ban is interesting, it is kind of telegraphed of what you want to do. I mean, Caldor just kind of laid it all out for you, what that Brightwing kind of yells out. So Team Liquid gets rid of the Brightwing. Team Expert answers back by saying, okay, if you want to go dive, you're going to have to do it without shields and, of course, lifesteal.
And that leaves, again, for Expert, first of all, Genji is now open. So Genji is open, which is big. Another big question is still, how much do you prioritize Inuburak? We are in the Stukov patch, so that means that the nerfs to Inuburak have gone through. In the previous series, it dropped the priority of Inuburak slightly. He still offers a lot, especially as the second tank, if you don't want to run him as the main tank anymore. As Expert ran him as a main tank on the last map, they still adapted his build a little bit, speccing way more into the Carapace instead of going into the big dive with Burrow Charge talents on 4 and 7. So no Subterranean Shield, and not going for Underking here just because they acknowledge he doesn't really have the sustain anymore without those shield talents. So this is something that we have to watch out for in the games to come and the weeks to come. So Expert, in this case, also not valuing him that highly. Instead, it's all about dive for them. Genji, Illidan, a lot of aggression already.
Man, I really, really want to know what Team Liquid's initial plan was with that Brightwing ban, because we really just kind of theorized it was going to be a lot of draft diving. And Team Expert just immediately answers back brilliantly. They say, okay, what if we take away your Genji? What if we take away Illidan and we don't give you a chance to dive at all? And so now Team Liquid can adjust, obviously, and start getting to spot. Uther is great against dive. You can handle the Illidan and the Genji, but I kind of wish I knew what the original plan was with that Brightwing ban.
I really like what the Experts did.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love it. I think they took everything that we theorized and then just threw it up.
There's again the question, what happens if you're simply trying to go for a draft? The Oriel is still out.
Yeah.
So you can still go into an Uther Oriel comp and Vikings. I love it. This is exactly what I meant, because we have seen on the first map Vikings already played. And then one thing you have to make sure if you're trying to play Vikings on this map is that you have a strong format. If you have Uther, you're going to run into mana problems at some point. But you can still play the Oriel and Uther combo and then have Vikings on the lane. And so I actually like this a lot, what they're having right now. I think Team Liquid wanted to go into Vikings. They probably would have loved to play it a little bit differently. But I think the Vikings were always on the table here. They played that in the past a lot. The last, I think, 2 weeks, they haven't really fallen back into Viking play. But it's still one of their strong suits. And on the first map, on Dragonshire, they just showed how fantastic Hazorps can be on that hero and what impact he has.
Do you ban Cassie here? Or do you think Illidan, Hunt, and Genji is enough to lock her down and blow her up? I think I would ban Cassia.
Cassia would probably be a good ban. You're really, really melee heavy if you go for her, but you have, thing is you have also other, I think Cassia is a great ban, but you have so many additional batteries that exist here right now.
Totally.
And that is a fantastic ban for Team Liquid. I really, really like it. Getting rid of Abathur, because you don't want to run into the double Genji, a double Illidan, an Illidan or a Genji with an Abathur hat. You can also, with the two of them, with Abathur, chase Vikings. You have way more control over experience and how you soak it. So I think the ban on Team Liquid is fantastic. For Expert, Cassia makes a lot of sense, but Liquid can still fall back into Lunara, into Vala. It's so difficult to kill any target that is supported by Oriel plus Uther.
Yeah, I think it's a case of choose your poison here with the Cassia ban.
Yeah.
At least with Gul'dan, Lunara, you have the possibility if they overstep, you can force a kill on them. Cassia with their built-in armor, it can be such a pain to deal with.
I'm absolutely with you here. So I really think that it's, as you said, it's a choose your poison situation. And now Expert has to decide, how do we deal with that? What are we actually planning to do here? Because the dive is there already, they have that, but I'm still waiting. Okay, so, oh my god. So they go into Greymane, Illidan, and Genji.
Yeah, so they just want to run over Team Liquid if they can get the fight they would like. They have a lot of damage here. They have a decent amount of poke between Genji and Greymane, and they have the actual moment of Illidan moving in. So now it comes to the spot here of, like, who do you stun with Uther? Because you have two other people coming afterwards. Do you just go straight into Divine Storm now and try to handle it, or do you just get ran over?
Yeah, that has to be Divine Storm.
Yeah, 100%.
So I would definitely go a Storm here for sure. And then you try to blow someone away. I'm right now interested to see what the Experts choose as their tank. I want to see Tyrael here.
Yeah, just go all the way in. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, might as well. So, Liquid on the other hand. First of all, Lunara or Vala. Those are the two heroes that we're still waiting for. And okay, Nubarak is going to be the frontliner.
That'll help. Cocoon will be able to help stop that onslaught from coming forward.
But he is, I mean, okay, he has a double support behind him.
Better barbs too.
On the squishy side, yeah.
Nice.
And Zavala over Lunara, okay. Not a lot of stun for Team Expert. That's the one thing they don't have.
Diablo!
I mean, Diablo isn't too bad. The problem with Diablo here is you don't have as many stun opportunities as you have on Infernal Shrines, Tomb of the Spider Queen. So that's the one downside. You can still play him, but he doesn't have the same amount of potential that you have on maps where there's more debris out there that you can use to get that stun after a Shadow's Charge. And if you commit into Ethereal, I mean, it's all about the Sanctification then. But if you're planning on running over your opponent here with the Sanctification, is exactly what you want. It's rough though.
Tyrael, what do you think about Johanna? You just blind the Vala and just dive in, and you get those 2 seconds of where your Illidan, Greymane, and Genji get in there. You get decent stuns.
I wouldn't really like the Johanna for them.
Yeah? I'm in love with Johanna as of late.
Oh, I love Johanna as a hero. She's a lot of fun. I just don't think that they have
Tyrael.
it. There we go, Tyrael. Okay, so that's cool. The problem that you have with Johanna, I think if you are having a draft that is this aggressive, Johanna is not...
She's not going to follow you.
Yeah, she doesn't move in with you at the same time.
Falling sword.
And we've seen that once. Conviction on 7 helps you a lot to just engage.
Yeah.
And if you use Conviction, you chase after, you hit a Blessed Shield, then you can get a lot out of her. So that helps. I guess you could play her, but I mean, the draft just screams Tyrael.
Tyrael's here, and he's ready to charge down their opponents now. Will they be able to handle the Vikings? It's probably the big wrench here, and it's a pretty big wrench. With Hasselhoff playing the Vikings, it's always a treat to watch him, and he will be doing his best to sneak all the altars whenever they spawn up.
I want Team Liquid to win this.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm a fan of Professor Eric. And second of all, I want a 5th map.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I want to have 5 maps between the two here. And yeah. I like Vikings, what can I say?
Yeah, you can't go wrong with
Vikings
it.
always remind... The cool thing about the Vikings is, who do you see playing Vikings for most of the team? It's usually the players that have RTS experience.
True.
Players that played Warcraft 3, that played StarCraft 2, that just have the macro. And that just... I don't know, that really resonates with me. I love that.
It's
I love
a part of your
seeing-
history. Like, yeah, of course it resonates with you.
I mean, I drove Hazorps around as he was 15 years old to LAN events in Warcraft 3. Then I've watched him just dominate in Germany in particular with Warcraft 3, transition to StarCraft 2, and now when we're talking about heroes, I see him play the macro heroes oftentimes, and that's just a lot of fun. And this series deserves a 5th game, I feel.
Well, let's see if we will go to game number 5. Let's go ahead and start it up here. Towers of Doom, game number 4. It's Team Expert versus Team Liquid.
The game is on, and we have the experts in the lead against Team Liquid. They had a fantastic performance on game number 3. Let's find out if they can shut down the Vikings here. To the left, Hazorps on the Vikings, Dartmok on Vala, Splendor on Uther, Norok on Ariel, and Blumby on Anubarak.
On the right side, in the red, Nick will be playing Genji, ADRD on Greymane, Athura will be on Illidan, Bad Benny playing Tyrael, and Curson will be on Rhaegar. Let's see if they'll be able to handle the pressure of the Vikings and try to run over their opponents.
They definitely have a very, very aggressive composition here, and a composition that's also a lot of fun to watch. The big question again, do you get the Viking value? Bribe again chosen as a level 1 talent here for Hazorps. The strong 4-man for Team Liquid, again around Vala. They were not successful with a double support Vala on the last map. This time, instead of the Tassadar, they have Uther on the other hand.
Poke already starts, and here goes that 4-man. They'll start to clear out and control that bottom lane, push it in there, work on controlling the mercenary camps that will be spawning at 130, the Sappers. Ever so important on this battleground. Luckily for Team Expert, they have great tools to grab their own here. They have Rhaegar, Greymane, and of course Illidan. Now, Gillyweed and Dreadnought will be here later to cast North America.
They are here in spirit.
They are here in spirit. They're hanging out.
I think they're watching. They're definitely hanging out
They're
here.
getting makeup on right now.
Yeah.
Dread needs a lot of makeup. But we're going to go ahead and continue the fight in the top.
Athero already a little bit low, but has his evasion still on. Hazorps, Professor Eric doing his job here, but they are not going to get the kill. And of course, you need to be careful that you don't get too low with the Vikings, or Nick is just simply going to move in and get the reset. But both of the teams are pushing in heavily.
Notice how Expert, is really trying to adjust this thing here. With them having only Vala as their main type of damage, they're able to put only a couple people on the bottom, and the supports don't really do that well at sieging down the bell towers. So Illidan, who if left unchecked will shred through your bell tower, is doing more damage in the top left with Genji helping him out.
Yeah, the crazy thing is they split on 2 lanes.
Yeah.
They are ahead because they take all of the fronts out, and they have, as you said, Illidan at the top, and they have also Greymane in the middle. So instead of trying to defend the bot lane, they're just simply saying, you guys know what, we don't really care about that. You can take it, but we are pressuring 2 lanes at once, so your entire Viking idea of soaking 2 lanes with the Vikings and having a 4-man is all over a sudden going to hell, since we just have a much better pressure play.
And the best part about that, too, is with them having Genji in the top, Illidan getting someone low, and then suddenly Genji flashes across the screen and gets a kill when those Vikings and gets a reset. It's very difficult to play the Vikings against an Illidan and a Genji coming at you. In fact, there it is right there, as we see Nick coming in there with Bad Benny and getting another takedown. Now, it's all about the altars. for our teams. We're going to go ahead and have a few being controlled, one for each of our teams so far. In fact, a thorough delays in the top left.
Hazops might lose Olaf here, and indeed he does. Lumbi still fighting, so 4 shots fired on both sides. We have the Vikings working on the bell tower to the top, so that works for them. The longer the fight lasts, the more pressure they get onto the structures. Tyrael is trying to do the same thing at the bot lane, and Expert is willing to give up Altar number 3, so it's going to be 36 points on the core for Team Liquid and 32 for Team Expert.
A Thorough is looking determined in this match. They're controlling the top left, getting the bell tower, putting pressure on the Vikings. It looks like he wants to go to another global. It's been some time since we've seen him at a global.
Yeah, I actually think that, well, the Thorough is already global, but I think he's a little bit salty right now because he promised Snitch a 3-0, and of course he can't deliver on that anymore. But he wants to at least make it a 3-1. Down here, on the other hand, it looks like Team Liquid was going... Oh, Bad Benny jumping out. Okay. Not getting the second stun in.
Yeah, he was trying to get that bell tower a little bit lower. Does get away. At the same time, Grammy pushing in the middle. And Team Expert, they don't seem to mind that bell tower on the bottom
3
right.
shots.
Yeah. Wow.
Nice.
Thorough getting more on the top. And I expect the Team Liquid to be destroying in this early game, but right now it's Expert as they have the map pressure.
I love the adjustment from the Experts. Pushing the 2 lanes with heroes or combos that just work this well is absolutely fantastic. They did such a great job here, so it's really cool to see that they are pressuring Team Liquid like this. And right now, Team Expert is in a much better position because they are reclaiming their bell tower down at the bot lane. All comes down to the question, can they actually take Illidan? That would be great for them. If they can drop Illidan, that would be cool, but it looks more and more as if Ethereal would escape here. He will reclaim the bell tower to the top. But that pressure that we expected on the map against Team Expert, right now it isn't there.
Non-existent. Illidan prepared in the top lane, doesn't get picked off. We're going to have the Ultra spawning in the middle and the bottom. So far, we're going to have Team Liquid working on the bell tower at the top left. They would like to break it down, but with Eric falling victim, Hasselhobbs is trying his best here to put these Vikings on display, but he keeps getting picked off.
And while my co-caster seems to miss Lucio a lot, we are seeing the bell towers activating again.
Lucio.
Yeah, always breaking it down here, right?
Always breaking it down. Nick and crew are going to fight here on the side with a 9-8 advantage. They are a full level ahead of their opponents with the Vikings on the field.
Vikings get a lot of value later on in the game in particular, so that's where they are the strongest. There's always this idea that a lot of people have that Vikings only reign supreme in the early game and then later fall off heavily, and that's not really the case. So they can do so much. But Experts are completely willing to forego a few of the bell towers early on and just simply fight over it. So once again, Hazops is going to be stunned out. We are having 1 hero down. There's only a Viking, so they can't fight with all of them. Illidan is starting to move in. Experts still fighting over this one, as now they are in control of 5 bell towers against 3, my bad.
And the shot will go off, and Team Expert will continue to be in a good spot here. 28-28, even in terms of core shots, but head and heroic abilities, keeping mercenary control as well. Illidan holding the top, and they're also holding the bottom right. Team Expert's about to pile on the pressure.
Team Liquid needs a strong mindset here now. This is one of those moments when you see you fall a little bit behind in the early game, and you have to just be... First of all, you have to make sure that everybody just keeps talking in voice, because this is one of the moments where you really feel the pressure. You are on a match, on a map that you cannot lose. You need to win 2 in a row. You are a level behind at this point, and you just need to make sure that everybody communicates in the team. You still don't think about not going to the Western Clash. Think about, okay, what's important here? Where are the rotations? Where can we push? What's happening? And just communicate that the entire time. You can't give up at this point, because the pressure is just rising for Team Liquid. They just lost the boss, and Illidan is working on the top again. So they're falling farther and farther behind. They're behind in experience, they're behind in core points, and they just need to make sure that right now they are not losing their cool. And it's incredibly difficult to make that happen, since Expert is just crushing it here.
Expert's about to take another bell tower in the middle. Team Liquid will answer back by grabbing the bell tower on the bottom right. And there is getting to a point where they may have to force a fight here on their opponents, especially for that 13 hits.
Once that you have 16, keep in mind that this is really where a lot of the value for the Vikings comes in, thanks to the stun on Olaf. So that's where you're more confident in fighting these battles. But right now, Expert with a pseudo-global on Illidan is doing a fantastic job here. Bad Benny moves in, tries to make sure that the Merc camp doesn't come through, and so far it hasn't. Only one of the shots got fired, and the rest of the team is there to help out. And the problem for Liquid overall is controlling Illidan. This is their biggest problem.
They do have a decent spot here, though. With both the towers in the bottom right and bottom left in, they are anchored in a good spot to move in for that altar. If they're able to get the fight to go their way, Illidan will have a harder time hunting in as he keeps putting pressure on the top. So Blumby will push in here on the right side. Team Liquid kind of pinched in the bottom right, but remember, they do have that bell tower to run to. If they can play it nice and slow, they can buy time for their Vikings to work on the bell towers.
The problem is also, the bell towers down here, that they have both of them controlled is good for Liquid. But they're down in talent, and Illidan can make it a 5 versus 4 pretty easily. So right now, they're just buying time. Even if they have to give up the tower, as long as they can buy a bit of time, that's okay for them. Because they work on the bell tower in the middle, they work on the one up at the top. But buying time would be absolutely crucial here.
Blumby taking damage here. Curse Bullet comes out. Nurok will be able to get the heal, but Dark Monk steps forward. It's going to be a 5v4.
Yeah, bell tower in the mid lane is nearly taken. Ethereal is not getting it. They're trying to go in. Balog is down. He's the only one so far. Splendor not dying. Dragonblade committed to. Bell tower in the middle has fallen. That's at least one last shot. Ethereal is not interrupted. Blumby misses the stun, so the channel goes through. And that's 4 shots fired for now.
And Team Liquid couldn't do much here. Vala was low on mana. Here comes a big stun. We're going to be able to have a couple members low. Nurok finally will get picked off. Illidan also being taken out, but Nick looking for more here. Members low. Dark Monk in particular has low health here. Cursing goes for the bite, but he gets baited behind the tower.
Great body block as well. And Bad Benny also slowed and gets a lot of extra damage. Hazorps actually tries to chase him here. So the camp that was taken did so much work. But this is actually, it wasn't too bad for Liquid. They're still 7 points behind when it comes to core damage, but they are on level 13 now. Even experience. They might get the kill against ADRD. And they do. Greymane is down. Nick cannot get the resets. Liquid doing well in that team fight.
What was ADRD doing there? Was he just trying to sneak on by to get the back line? Why didn't he just go all the way around?
I think he was just trying to get a kill against Vala. They say when Rega moved in to try and kill her and didn't get her because of the body blocks that we saw from Uther, I think he was still attempting to just sneak around and hope for an easy kill.
Well, didn't work out for him, unfortunately. And now suddenly Team Liquid is getting full control back. They were able to grab the bell tower in the middle. They're working on the top left. Team Expert goes back to what they were pulling off earlier with Illidan grabbing the top mercs and them, of course, defending on the bottom right side. But Team Liquid's in a much better position than they were earlier.
Yeah, Hazo is not going to lose. He's not going to lose Olaf yet, just yet. And he's going to be back soon. But yeah, the position is much better. And now Liquid also has more camps pushing in. And that is going to help them. It could potentially result in Expert taking serious damage, especially since it's a 4 versus 3 down here. So yeah, 3 shots fired, and that should be another 3. Nice. That was a big win right now for Liquid. 18 versus 22 on the core points. And there's another one fired. 17 to 21. Illidan also getting some damage in up at the top as he has scored at the Zappers. But overall, Liquid is starting to pull ahead in experience, which is a big win for them.
And also remember, the next altar phase after this one will be 3 altars, which is where the Vikings can have their power spike.
This is also really one of those situations where, as I said earlier, you need to just make sure that you're not falling apart mentally. And Liquid has been able to do that when everything was on the line. So now they find themselves in a much better spot. So this is getting a bit easier for them now. They're like, guys, okay, we're back in this. We're back in this. Make sure that you concentrate right now. Even if they lose out on another altar, it's still fine. They are good in experience. They head towards the level 16. Vikings are working at the top on fighting over another bell tower. So overall, Expert is all of a sudden the one that experienced the pressure. Oh, nice. Good play here on the side of Team Expert, saving them from the Divine Storm. Uther using his ult, not getting anything out of it. And again, the fight over the altar. But look to the top lane. That's where the bell tower is nearly falling, and Liquid will have the lead then.
Liquid having the nice lead here, 5 to 3 in shots as they get the altar.
Illidan in the mid lane is simply saying, okay, if this just continues to fight, if this is a stall out, I'm going to work on a bell tower too. But this is the kill against Rega. It's fantastic for Liquid. Vikings come in, they have the stun, they have the 16, they go for it and start to pressure him. Nick commits to the Dragonblade, tries to go for the resets, doesn't get any. And this now with 5 bell towers against 3 is another opportunity for Team Liquid to pull ahead in the core points.
So what I'm a little bit weirded out here is Team Expert has a composition that is meant for running over. You have Greymane, Illidan, and Genji, but they've started to do the poke wars, and the poke wars just really work out for Team Liquid. You get the Vikings in this spot with the control. I know it's hard to break down Vala and Ario, but Team Expert needs to pull it together here. Now with 16 coming online, they'll have that holy ground, so maybe they can get some section offs and start controlling fights better. In fact, they dive right away on top of Aegis.
Nice, Aegis. Darkmock saved. This could be kills, but Sanct is being used. That was a good one. But AD already is low. Good detainment strike, and it results in Illidan taking out. But you are right. what they were trying to do, their early game was fantastic. Why was it fantastic? Because Illidan was doing so much work and really controlled the flow of the game. Always pressuring Team Liquid to an extent that they just couldn't react to. But I think they played the Illidan game too long. They should have focused in those team fights a little bit more. But they were winning the macro game against the Vikings in the early and the mid game, and then did not commit to the team fights the way that they probably wanted to. And then they result in Liquid getting the engage earlier and always getting a kill. And then it's just simply too late. And also with the last one, you see the immediate reaction to the hunt. We have Vala being saved, and then with a quick strafe, good detainment strike, Illidan goes down. The momentum shifts again in favor of Liquid. They take another bell tower. Expert, granted, they take one back, so they trade 1 for 1. But they are still a level behind right now. But they're up in core points, only by 3. It's 13 to 16, but this game is just super close.
I mean, you spoke about it too, the Vikings, the late game, they start to really control there, especially that stun coming online. We now have the Vikings pushing out on the map. Eric was in the top, Olaf's fighting in the fights here, you have Balog in the bottom, but it's constant pressure happening here against Expert, and here is the 3 altar phase in the next 15 seconds where the Vikings can really just separate from away from the fights and of course grab those altars. Team Expert needs to manage as well.
And Liquid protects the middle. They protect the bell tower long enough. And now they have, of course, the Vikings in position. But Illidan is still down. Up here to the top, on the other hand, they're starting to position themselves.
Here we go on the right side. Nurok hits the Detainment Strike to knock back Tyrael.
Still, Expert, still poking away. Healing Ward in the back, helping them with a sustain.
At the same time, Illidan is in the bottom. He's working on Balog. He will get the kill, can start channeling.
First channel on the top left completed, but the fight to the bottom left is starting as Nurok moves in.
Nurok does come in. Team Liquid has scattered out the Illidan. At the same time, in the top right, Team Expert grabs the altar.
Rega channels it through and tries to, gets it, but Aethera's in trouble.
Aethera in trouble. The stun does hit. Will he fall victim?
Oh, he is going to die. Goes down as Dartmoor confirms the kill together with Blumby, and they're fighting over the last altar.
Team Expert in a really poor spot here. Remember, if this altar is grabbed by Team Liquid, that is 5 shots, and here's Greymane low on health.
ADRD stun, Detainment Strike saves him in that moment. We had the cocoon already used as we once again have a stun, and the second as a follow-up. Tyrael dies, and they dive in deep for Rega.
And Nick tried to grab the bell tower just to stop the points, but Eric was able to grab the last shot, and 5 more come out, and suddenly Team Expert is down to 6 shots.
6 shots against 10. Liquid in the lead in experience. They have 19 versus 17 now on the board, and they can now easily go back and take, of course, both of the Zappa camps. This is fantastic for them. More pressure onto the bot lane. They just lost the bell tower in the middle, but they have more pressure at the bottom of the map now.
Team Liquid has 20 right around the corner too. If they're able to grab this bell tower, get these pushing in and keep soaking as well, they're going to have 20. A boss will be spawning relatively soon too. Team Experts in a world of hurt, and a pick or two would be great for them, but they have to wait for Tyrael to come in, who won't get up for 4 seconds, and the Rhaegar, who's still not in the field for another 9.
And let's not forget that there's also a Zappa camp now marching through the bot lane, so this is something that you have to defend. Fury of the Storm has now been picked up by the Vikings, and that means even more lane pressure. So this is really rough. Illidan at the top is trying to get a camp, but this means that onto the bot lane, it's going to be a 4 versus 4.
I mean, what else can you do? He has to grab the camp here, get that pushing in there, work on level 19. At the same time, they have to defend against these Sappers in the bottom. They can barely take any shots. Bad Vinny on the side, and some Sappers do make it on through and drop it down to 3 here, as Darkmonk also drops the strafe.
3 shots fired, and now we're talking boss again. Boss is now a consideration. It's a minute until he's back. Boss is going to be back in a minute. 10 points on the core against 3. Liquid with that 20, the Firefly Quiver, everything they have here, the rewind for Nubarak. They are in an amazing spot to take this. The game is not over yet though. And once Expert hits 20, they have access, of course, to great tools for all the teamfight scenarios. Aethera at the top is in trouble, hunts away or tries to. He might actually fall if Hazorps is able to get close enough, and the rest of the team is there. Illidan is down, double altar in 20 seconds. This has to be game.
Yeah, it looks like it. With 2 altars up, the Vikings here, there's a total of, what, 7 bodies on the field for Team Liquid to grab these altars, and only 4 for Team Expert.
There is no way. There is absolutely no way that you save this. Expert, they need to fight right now in a 5 versus 4, and all that Liquid has to do is buy time.
They're buying time here. We have the Vikings soaking on the left side and the right side. Haswab's left alone. Kursen's being body blocked by Olaf, and we're going to have the shots grabbed.
Great play here. This is game. Liquid ties it up again and forces map number 5. Hazorps absolutely delivering on the Vikings, and then on the final, soaking it through with Eric while body blocking with Olaf at the same time. Rhaegar trying to get close for the interrupt, but there's nothing they can do once that Illidan was down. the game was over.
Caldor, I would have it no other way here for our teams. Dignitas gotta be freaking out as we're going to game number 5, but Team Liquid is seriously contending. They want to go to the Western Clash here, and they bring it back in a scenario where the game, it looked pretty much over, man. Expert destroyed in the early game.
Yeah, Expert definitely had... I love the split that they had. Greymane Rhaegar in the middle, the wolf pack, trying to barrel through one of the bell towers. And up at the top, you see Illidan and Genji. And Liquid was falling farther and farther behind. And they must have freaked out at some point.
Yeah, they had to have.
You're entire level behind as level 10 hits. You lose bell towers all over the place. And this is where a lot of teams just completely panic. And they shut down. All of a sudden, no one's talking anymore, nobody says anything in voice, and you're just starting to accept your fate. You're not thinking about the game anymore, you're thinking about the series. You're thinking about what that means. You're thinking about, we're not going to Western Clash, we're actually going to lose this.
Sure.
We have a draft that we won, but and you freak out completely. They kept their composure. And that was probably, from all the things that happened here, the most impressive to me.
Well, experience and composure coming through for Team Liquid, but can they make it through game number 5 against Expert? We'll be right back with an answer.